Today is February 22nd, 2026, and what I am about to show you cannot be unseen. So before we go any further, subscribe right now. Ring that bell, set it to all notifications, because what is happening in silver over the next 72 hours could be one of the most consequential moves in commodity market history. And if you miss it, you will spend the next decade asking yourself why you were not paying attention tonight. Let us start with a number. One number. 88.79 million ounces. That is it. That is the entire COMEX registered silver supply on the face of this earth right now. COMEX, the commodity exchange division of CME Group, is the largest, most influential precious metals derivatives marketplace on the planet. The registered inventory is the metal that has been vault certified, warranted, and is immediately deliverable against futures contracts. It is real metal, in real vaults, and there are only 88.79 million ounces of it left. In a single session, over 1 million ounces bled out. Eligible silver metal that meets COMEX specs but is still under private owner control bled another million plus out the door in the same day. Net outflows, persistent, structural, accelerating. This is not market noise. This is a system that is cracking from the inside. Now I want you to understand the mechanics here, because this is where the story gets terrifying. Every futures contract on COMEX for silver represents 5,000 troy ounces. Open interest, the total number of outstanding contracts that have not been settled, closed, or delivered, is currently sitting at over 80,000 contracts for the March 2026 delivery month alone. Multiply that out. That is over 400 million ounces of silver that market participants are contractually committed to. 400 million ounces versus 88 million ounces that actually exist in deliverable form. That is a 312 million ounce gap between what is owed and what physically exists to hand over. Read that again. 312 million ounces. Missing. And first notice day, the date when short sellers must formally declare their intent to deliver physical metal, hits on February 27th. That is 5 days from right now. Investment specialist Karel Merks ran the delivery roll data, and his conclusion was stark. The March to May roll is running at 30 million ounces per day. At that pace, at that exact pace, COMEX runs out of deliverable silver by February 27th. From April onward, this market faces a genuine physical shortage. Not a paper shortage, not a modeling artifact, a real structural, physical shortage. And where are the inflows that should be refilling these vaults? There are none. None. Registered silver supply collapsed from 200 million ounces in September 2025 to 88 million ounces today. A 56% collapse. In 5 months. Gone. This is public data. COMEX publishes daily inventory reports. They are free. They are online. Pull them yourself. Real players do. Because real players know that the data never lies. Only the narrative around it does. Now the price action. Because if the inventory data is the earthquake, yesterday's price move was the shockwave. February 21st, 2026, silver futures, March contract, ticker SIH6, opened at $78.47, dipped to $77.28, and then it launched. Closed at $84.57. A single session gain of $6.93, up 8.93% in one trading day. Volume hit 55,397 contracts. That is not retail traders clicking buttons on their phones. That is institutional money, conviction capital, sovereign-level positioning. Spot silver printed as high as $85.34 on dealer platforms. Gold simultaneously reclaimed $5,100. And year over year, silver is now up 150 to 160% from early 2025 levels. These are not normal market conditions. This is a repricing event. Now, here is the twist. The development that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. China was dark. Lunar New Year. Shanghai, the single largest source of physical silver demand on the planet, was completely offline. Silent. Absent. Conventional logic said prices should have corrected. Demand is suppressed, so prices fall. That is Econ 101. But logic was wrong. Dead wrong. Silver surged 9% without China even in the room. And before the holiday had ended, a Shenzhen recycler was already bidding $93 per ounce for 9999 fine silver. Think about that. Western COMEX futures at $84. A Chinese recycler already bidding $93. That $9 physical premium gap between paper price and real metal price is widening. It is accelerating, and it is telling you something very important about what happens when Shanghai reopens on Tuesday. Let me now zoom out, because this is not just a February story or even a 2026 story. This is a 6-year structural crisis reaching a boiling point right now in real time, while most people are looking at their social feeds. 2026 marks the 6th consecutive year of a global silver deficit. 6 straight years. The cumulative global silver deficit since 2021 now exceed 800 million ounces. That is more than 1 full year of total global mine production. Permanently consumed, gone from the above-ground supply chain. And the projected deficit for 2026 is another 67 million ounces on top of that, even with supply growing modestly. The above-ground buffer is essentially depleted. And to confirm the stress in the system, LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, which serves as the physical wholesale backbone of the global silver and gold markets, has seen its silver lease rate spike to 7.3%. That is the highest level in over a decade. When institutions need to borrow physical silver and they are paying 7.3% annualized to do it, the market is screaming at you. The cushion is gone. The rehypothecation, the practice of using the same metal as collateral multiple times across different lending agreements, is cracking. The entire paper over physical structure is being exposed. Now I want to go even deeper because this situation has a geopolitical dimension that almost no one is connecting. Former COMEX floor market maker Vince Lancy has documented what he describes as a JP Morgan China proxy war being fought in the silver market. Here is how it unfolded. China accumulated physical silver cheaply over years. Their solar manufacturing sector, which now consumes between 25 and 30% of total global silver demand every single year, became structurally dependent on it. Let that sink in. One sector of one country's economy consumes 30% of global silver supply. And in 2024 alone, solar panel manufacturing consumed 689 million ounces of silver, a new record. Then, according to Lancy's documented research, JP Morgan moved millions of ounces of silver from registered status, immediately deliverable, to eligible status, meaning technically undeliverable without conversion paperwork. Chinese hedgers who were counting on that metal for delivery were denied. A squeeze erupted. Position limits were hit. Simultaneously, JP Morgan filled Latin American contracts, locking supply geographically away from Chinese access. This is not speculation. This is documented market positioning. Silver has become a geopolitical weapon in a financial war that most people do not even know is being fought. History tells us how this ends, and the rhymes are loud right now. 1979. Nelson Bunker Hunt and his brother William Herbert Hunt accumulated between 200 and 250 million ounces of physical silver. They cornered 69% of the entire deliverable COMEX supply. Short sellers were trapped. Inventories were drained. Silver went from $6 an ounce to $50. That is an 800% move. Then COMEX changed the rules mid-game. They implemented Silver Rule 7. They raised margins. They imposed position caps. March 27, 1980, Silver Thursday, silver crashed 50% in a single day. A $135 million margin call wiped out the Hunts. They went bankrupt. But here is the critical difference between 1980 and today. The Hunt squeeze was purely speculative. They bought silver to corner it. Today's demand driving this market is industrial. China's solar factories do not stop production because CME raises margin requirements. The industrial demand is structural, inelastic, and growing every quarter. Warren Buffett understood physical dynamics when he accumulated 129.7 million ounces of silver in 1997, 37% of global annual supply at the time. Silver jumped 73%. Then came the Reddit Wall Street Bets silver squeeze in 2021. Silver briefly touched $30 and fizzled out. Why? Because there was no physical backing. Paper contracts were bought in volume, but the physical market did not reflect genuine shortage. The lesson from that episode is permanent, and it applies directly to today. Paper squeezes without physical pressure fade fast. Physical squeezes, real ones, become historic. Right now, the physical pressure is real. The lease rates confirm it. The inventory drain confirms it. The Chinese premiums confirm it. In 2010 to 2011, silver ran from $18 to $49.79. A 176% move in roughly 12 months. The CME raised margins 5 times in 1 week during the peak. Silver crashed 30% in days. Lease rates spiked then too. They are spiking now. History is not repeating exactly, but it is rhyming so loudly you can feel the bass in your chest. And now there is an entirely new dimension to this market that has never existed before. Binance launched gold and silver perpetual futures, crypto style, no expiration, no circuit breakers, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Within weeks of launch, $70 billion in trading volume moved through those products. $70 billion, a whole new class of trader, crypto-native, highly leveraged, with zero COMEX experience, entered the silver market simultaneously. The result was immediate and brutal. 129,000 traders liquidated in a single day. $543.9 million in losses in 1 day. In silver overtook Bitcoin in crypto liquidation volumes. Silver beat Bitcoin. That sentence should reframe everything you think you know about who is in this market right now. CME itself announced 24/7 crypto futures trading starting May 29, 2026. $3 trillion in notional crypto volume moved through these markets in 2025. Daily volume is already up 46% year over year in 2026. The old market structure is gone. A new one is being built in real time around you. Now, the chart, because structure always tells the truth even when the crowd screams panic. Silver has been ranging between $70 and $84. The 50-day moving average sat at 81.65. It was resistance for weeks. Yesterday we broke above it with force and volume. If we hold above 84 with conviction, the next technical target is $100. That is not a wish or a hopeful projection. That is the structure. Key resistance levels sit at 81.65, then the 82 to 84 zone, then 87.76, then 90 to 95, and finally the major psychological wall at $100 to $104. Support sits at 76 to 77.50, then 70 to 72, and if things break hard, 60 to 64. Know both sides, always. Here is something I want you to lock into your mind about how markets work. When silver was at $72, the bears dominated every comment section. Panic, doom, capitulation. I called the structure, inverse head and shoulders, clear support zone, textbook bullish setup. I pointed to it while everyone around me screamed that the market was finished. We are now at 84.60. Structure won, noise lost. The pattern repeats every single cycle. 5 to 10% down and the crowd goes bearish. 5 to 10% up and the same crowd flips bullish. The market plays those people, not you. Not if you understand the structure. There is a 1974 declassified U.S. Embassy cable, publicly available, documenting how futures markets have historically been used to deter physical metal holding by amplifying paper selling pressure. At $72, that playbook ran perfectly. And the structure still did not lie. It never does. Now the forecasts, and I want you to understand the enormous range here because it tells you something important. JP Morgan's own research desk calls $81 as the 2026 average, with Q1 peaking around 84. Trading economics models project silver toward $99 over the next 12 months. On the bullish end, goldsilver.com projects $175 plus. Robert Kiyosaki has publicly called $200, and analyst Bradshaw has a $375 target by 2028. Conservative institutional voices like Bank of America sit at $56 to $65. That range from $65 to $375 is enormous. But here is what none of those forecasters dispute: the structural deficit math. No one, not even the bears. The disagreement is only about timing and magnitude, not direction. And because I owe you the full picture, let me give you the counter case clearly and without hedging. Dollar strength is a real headwind for silver. A strong yuan can dampen Chinese physical demand. After a 9% single-day move, profit takers are positioned and ready to sell into any weakness. Deficits are projections, not guarantees. Supply chains can adapt faster than models anticipate. These risks are real. Respect them, but weigh them against this. LBMA lending has effectively seized at 7.3% lease rates. The cushion in the system is gone. As Howard Marks said, and I want you to hear this, cycles break when liquidity meets reality. That moment in silver feels very close right now. So here is exactly what to watch in the next 72 hours. Monday morning roll data. Watch the volume and pace. Tuesday, COMEX registered inventory update, the number everyone needs to see. Shanghai physical market reopening Tuesday morning. Track those premiums live. March open interest versus 88 million registered daily. That gap is your signal. LBMA lease rates. Any further spike confirms system stress. March-May spread for backwartation signals. If near-term silver is more expensive than future silver, the shortage is real. And Monday's opening price, today's close and tomorrow's open, will confirm whether this breakout holds or fades. If this analysis sharpened your thinking, smash that like button. It tells the algorithm this content is worth distributing, and it helps more people get real data instead of noise. Subscribe now if you have not yet. Set notifications to all, because every update I drop in the next 72 hours matters. Drop 3 words in the comments right now. Apex, Predator, Locked. That is how I know you are here with me, sharp and positioned to understand what is happening. Here is the bottom line. 88 million ounces deliverable, 312 million ounce gap against open interest. 5 days to first notice day. Shanghai reopens Tuesday with $9 premiums already baked in before they even came back online. Gold above 5,100 without China's participation. Lease rates at decade highs, 6 straight years of global deficit. 800 million cumulative ounces depleted from above ground supply. Silver breaking above the 50-day moving average at 84 with $100 as the next major technical target. The math does not whisper, it roars. Verify everything. COMEX daily reports. Shanghai physical data. LBMA lease rates. Your edge is logic over hype, always. This is OG John AG. Stay predator, stay sharp, stay ruthless. OG out.